This episode is sponsored by Cocatel Collective, a strategic sales and marketing agency representing a highly curated portfolio of emerging beverage brands, from premium all-natural sodas, wine spritzes, and spirits all around the world.
Welcome to the In Process podcast, where we share stories of resilience and passion. We're excited that you found our YouTube channel, and we'd love to hear from you. So be sure to comment below and hit that like button. If you're enjoying these stories, be sure to subscribe and share. Enjoy the show.
All right. Welcome to this episode of In Process Podcast. I'm Mary.
And I'm Andy.
We'd love to thank Atmosphere and the Rhymesayers crew for sharing their music with us.
Today's guest is a James Beard semifinalist. She's a New York Times top 50 best restaurant list of this year. Recently nominated as Rising Chef of the Year from the Jean Benches, and also the co-owner and executive chef of Thattu here in Avondale. Please welcome to the show, Margaret Pak. So, Margaret, how the hell are you?
Good. Oh my gosh. Thank you. It's been a wild week,
Yes.
and I'm going to say thank you all for having me on the podcast.
Of course, it's such a pleasure. Yeah, where are you headed in from?
Like this morning?
Yeah, this morning.
North Center.
North Center.
So, yes.
What's in North Center?
So, Vinod and I used to live in the West Loop up until February of this year. And in getting ready to open the restaurant in Avondale, we tried to find a place in Avondale, and it was either just didn't work out, or it's too close, or just the price wasn't right. And we started going north, and the minute we went like around North Center and near St. Ben's, we found a place immediately.
Oh, wow.
So I joke that we have exactly the mirror image of our condo that we used to have, the mirror image of that,
Awesome.
like super close to the restaurant. So
So we want to kind of start from the beginning about your background and your upbringing. So can you touch on where you're from and how your career got started?
sure. So first, I am originally from Southern. Sorry. First, I'm originally from California, Central Coast, in particular Santa Maria, California. So people often ask, "Oh, it's LA?" No, literally Central, 3 hours north of Los Angeles, 4 hours south of San Francisco.
Oh, wow.
It's like the middle. It's like kind of in between SoCal, NorCal.
Exactly. And born and raised there, grew up on a street across the street from a cow field. Like there was not much there. Highly agricultural town, known for its tri-tip. So tri-tip was where what I grew up on, that and Korean food. Get to that obviously in a minute.
Wait, did you grow up on a farm?
Not on a farm, but a very agricultural town.
Okay.
Santa Maria, when we were there, I believe it was like a population of maybe like 100,000. So it was small, but significant enough. And about 15 miles from the beach. So
Perfect.
truly coastal. Born and raised there, and then my mom and my dad both originally moved from Korea to Texas to LA, and then my dad, as a urologist, he was going to like try to figure out where was he going to like start his career, and Santa Maria was it.
Oh, wow.
So
Did he have to go to school again, or?
no, so my dad, when my parents both immigrated to Texas, that's where my dad went to medical school.
Oh, okay.
So it was like, this is what I knew. I grew up in Santa Maria, and I'm going to say that I have the older sisters.
Yeah.
So I was the baby of the family. And I really, when I think about like how much the town of Santa Maria has evolved, it's across the street now, it became like a strawberry field and a very fancy winery down the street.
Oh, wow.
Great wine in that area.
Exactly. Presqu'île wine.
Yeah, we support that by the
sure.
glass here.
You do. So I can walk to that from where I used to live and
That's
grow up.
very cool.
Oh, no way.
It is gorgeous.
That's
They have a
awesome.
Beautiful tasting room. And there's another like winery that like my sister Michelle and I, Michelle's closest in age to me, we would go play in the in the vineyards, basically, and like get on like the stumpy old eucalyptus trees, like play our spaceship there and eat our peanut butter and kimchi sandwiches.
Oh, yeah.
That was like what my sister Michelle and I would do. We'd like be playing the beginnings of these vineyards.
So I'm assuming not a big Korean population over there?
No, it was very small. It did exist.
Yeah.
And my mom, she, over the decades, helped build like the Korean church community there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it was small.
Did they encourage like learning how to speak Korean?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you speak? Sorry.
I speak more Malayalam than Korean.
Oh, what is Mali? What is that?
Malayalam?
Malayalam?
Malayalam.
Malayalam. What is that?
Malayyalam. It's a language of Kerala, and it's also the longest palindrome.
Oh, shit. I didn't realize that.
Yes, I recently. Yes.
Malayalam.
So Malayalam. So that is the joke with Vinod and I. He speaks more Korean, and I speak more Malayalam. Like,
What? Wait,
Or-
what is Vinod's his native language?
Malayalam.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he speaks more Korean than Malayalam?
Oh, no, when we were first dating.
Okay.
Like when we were talking about like.
So then, okay, so let's fast forward a little bit. And you went to school for...
That's a good thing. A good question, because I often joke that I initially went to college for math, UC San Diego. That was the first time I went to college.
Yeah.
That didn't work out. Second time I went to college, community college, got my grades up. And then that's when I decided I'd like to do things with numbers. And then the third time I went to college,
Jesus.
I majored in statistics.
Okay.
Because I like numbers,
Yeah.
but I like to play. And I like to like figure out what's going on with all this data. So I graduated with a degree in statistics from Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo.
Awesome.
Yes.
Where did
and
statistics lead you?
so when I was still studying at SLO, I got an internship at a credit card company in Salinas, just a little bit more up the coast, and that was called Household Credit Services. And then, so I worked in finance. I was a
Okay.
credit risk analyst.
Okay. And then to fast forward a little bit, I just want to get to Vinod. How did you, can you paint a picture for us of how you met Vinod?
Okay, that's a great timing because I was living in Salinas.
Oh, okay.
It was very boring. After graduating college, there was not a lot going on there. And I would go to concerts a lot, Tori Amos in particular. And I think that year I probably went to 20 concerts.
Holy shit.
California. And basically went to the first concert I could go to in Las Vegas because it was going to be the smallest venue. I knew there would be like no more than 200 people there. And I was supposed to go with a girlfriend. She got sick. And so I was like, shoot, I got to go fly if I want to go to this concert. And so from San Jose to Vegas, short flight. But for whatever reason, I was like, I got to go. So I went to this concert
By
last
yourself?
minute, flew on a last minute ticket, showed up, bought a last minute single ticket, which, hey, I'm all for going to shows by yourself because I got the 6th row center and the best
Hell yeah.
Tory experience ever.
Yeah.
But all this, there's this weird pull, just I had to go.
Yeah.
I did, loved it. I was on my Tori Amos high. But then after that, in Las Vegas, I met Vinod at a nightclub.
Tell us about that.
This is why Vinod needs to be here. No, because there are 2 accounts of the story.
Okay.
We'll get his next time.
But I just wanted to go, like, my thought process of going to the club, first of all, was like, I don't want to gamble all my money away, nor do I want to get completely plastered.
Yeah.
And I
So
like,
you went to a nightclub.
yeah, in the same Hard Rock Cafe where the concert was. And I went to the club, and I thought, this is safe. But I was like, oh, there's a cute African-American guy. It was dark, and Vinod was bald. And he had bling on. Vinod, this is the era where Vinod was wearing a lot of bling.
No shit.
I love that.
What?
I mean,
yeah.
and Vinod's got some good moves.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But it's just shaking it on the dance floor.
Yeah.
Okay.
But basically, that's how we met.
And then you
Vinod-
said, "Can I hop in here?" Or
No, I don't know what was. Actually, not a lot was said. And the problem was, once Vinod started talking, I was like, oh, you're not African American. And then what he didn't know was that I had dated 2 Indian guys before him.
Oh, no shit.
And because I was working in finance.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, oh, man. I was really sad on the inside. I was like, okay.
You really wanted to date a black guy.
Well, at the time. I
Mix
thought-
it up, you know?
Yeah, no, legit, I did.
Legit, yeah.
And I was really mad, but I was like, okay, I'm
Yeah.
here till like the flight, so this is cool. And then lies ensued. I said my name wasn't Margaret. I was Myra. And then the other lie was, oh, I'm here with my sister, can't find her for my safety. And that was it. Had fun, of course. Like, truly, I flew out like at 5 o'clock in the morning. So I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'll see
Yeah.
you. Like, haha.
Exchange information.
Yeah, but that was the problem. I wrote down my real name.
Oh.
And
And he's like, you fucking lied to me.
Yeah. And I was like, oh. And then I said, that's my bar name.
And so you kept the lie going.
Yes. And so that was it. And then he was living in Connecticut. And I was living in
On the other
in-
side of
on
the
the
country.
other side in Salinas.
Perfect.
So I thought I'll never hear from him, and I didn't for a week. So he waited a week to call, but it was holidays. Ooh, what's today's date? It's
The December 25th.
okay, December 14th, 21 years ago is when we met.
Today?
Oh, wow.
No, the 14th. So it's coming up. So this is 21 years ago.
Jesus.
All the lies.
Congratulations. All the lies. Yeah. They continue.
No, but I explained everything 3 months later. I met all the friends, met the family, and, well, incrementally, of course.
Yeah.
And how did you guys end up in Chicago?
So that's where it got interesting because we dated long distance for a year. Vinod was a consultant at the time, so he could travel wherever, California, and I'd go meet him in Connecticut. And because he could travel, that was the only way it worked. And then, like 6 months into it, he's like, where is this relationship going? I'm like, I don't know. We're not living in the same zip code.
Yeah.
So basically, I had the opportunity to come out because of work to Glenview. So the company then became HSBC.
Oh.
Also got bought out by HSBC. The headquarters was in Glenview. I got to come out for a couple of meetings and audits. And then I was like, came downtown and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a major city here. It is beautiful and there's so much food. But it's winter. But then like I came back for fun. And then basically Vinod was like, hey, where's this relationship going? I'm like, I don't know. But I was like, but wait, I think I want to try to apply for another job. He's like, okay, if you don't, and he basically threatened me, if you don't get another job or we relocate, I'm going to move to California.
That's
It's a good thing.
Kind threat.
Is that a threat? No, it's not a threat. But it's more like, let's move this along.
Yeah. I love
And I
that.
was like, okay. And so I did apply for a job. First one didn't work out, which was fine. But the second, but it was work ultimately.
Yeah.
So you ended up working in Glenview.
Yeah. Straight transfer.
What year was this?
It's kind of funny. I sometimes have to look on my LinkedIn profile to remind myself. And I checked myself, and it was 2003
Oh, wow. That's when
when
we graduated high school.
you graduated high school.
I graduated in Glenview
in 2003.
in 2003. So we were there at the same time.
Okay, so and that's the thing. So that's what I knew.
Irrelevant to any other conversation, but
No, it's like Glenview. Like that's what like where I worked, what I knew, and like the intersection of where Allstate is. Like it's across the street.
yes,
Like
on
that's-
Sanders.
Yes. So
That's
my
where he works.
office was across the street from Sanders.
Oh shit.
And so, no, I mean, it's significant because, like, that was, like, my bubble.
Yeah.
And I lived in Arlington Heights.
Oh man.
And Vinod lived at International Village in Schaumburg
Okay.
and all this. And so it was just, like, that was my bubble then.
So when you both moved to Illinois, you still lived in two separate places.
Oh, yes. That was the whole thing, too, because if things didn't work out, I didn't want to see, you told Vinod, if things don't work out, I don't want to see you at the library or the bank.
Wow.
We
Wow.
gotta,
That's a big half step.
yeah.
Wow.
And I didn't know how big Arlington Heights really was. And I didn't know anybody in Chicago, but my oldest sister, Sandy, her best friend since music camps for like, well, now, I shouldn't say 50 years, decades, lives in Arlington Heights. So all I knew is Yuri loved Arlington Heights, and there's Mitsuwa.
Yes.
And that was good enough to go, like, have that be my first spot to live.
Mitsuwa is amazing.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I was just there.
Yes.
The ramen, what is that ramen spot? Sentuka? Sentuka?
Sentuka?
I think something like that.
Yeah.
Misoya?
No, inside Mitsuwa.
Inside.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, Misoya is around there, but best ramen in that area, Chicago ramen though, I will say. Have you been?
Not yet. I want to go.
Okay.
So then, fast forwarding into food from Kerala, tasting for the first time, was that all through Vinod?
Absolutely.
Okay. And is his family stateside?
So, states,
Like
no.
in the US?
No. So, Vinod's dad did pass away 2 years ago. And then Vinod's mom is in Kozhikode, where Vinod grew up. And so, every time we go back to Kerala, we go to Calicut. I say Calicut and Kozhikode, they're the same place.
Okay.
And I do call it home because it is my second home, and it'll be our 13th time. We're going back next month.
Oh my gosh.
In January, we're shutting down for 2 weeks.
Oh, you go back like pretty regularly.
Yeah, now we plan to go at least once a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
To see his mom and also just to.
Yeah. Yeah, Amma just turned 85.
Oh, does Vinod have siblings out there?
Yes, he has one younger brother, Vyas, in Bangalore.
Okay.
And my sister-in-law, Vandana, they're an architect, or he's an architect by trade. She's a fashion designer by trade. And they help us do a lot of design for our T-shirts, our zine, and our logo, and like our signage. Like, they helped with a lot of that.
So can you tell
Sorry,
us? Oh.
I was going to say, where's Kerala?
Yeah, I was going to say, can you tell us a little bit about
Oh,
Kerala?
yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
your first time.
Well, first, Kerala, just geographically, southwest coastal state. Very long strip of land, very much the California of India.
Okay.
Similarly, it's lined by the Indian Ocean and the Ghats as the mountains. And then here's Kerala, like on the coast.
Okay.
A lot of seafood and just super lush. It is tropical. It is close to the equator, so it is also hot.
Yeah.
So that's where it's located. The cuisine, I first experienced it when Vinod cooked for me. Very coconut heavy. So it's literally lined with coconut trees, coconut milk, roasted coconut butter, coconut chips.
So you got to like coconut.
Yes. Coconut and rice.
Do you remember like the first meal that was like, holy shit, this is the cuisine I want to explore? Specifically when Vinod and I were dating, he made like 3 things. First, it was a delicious but like homey egg curry with coriander, turmeric, Kashmiri chili, and tomatoes, and some onions. It was just so delicious, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is so delicious yet so simple yet so complex." And then a crab curry. I think those 2 things, I was like, "What?" Yeah. I thought I knew Indian food, and I did. I mean, I learned from a lot of my Indian colleagues and coworkers, and ate a lot in San Jose as well, like in California. But I was like, this is totally different. And that I fell hard in love with the food, and like, like around the same time, like during that time we were dating, and it was like, this is just so different. And then that's when I just started cooking, like a few more things. Yeah. Just not a necessity. But like, I think in India, like on our first trip, so we got married 19 years ago, January. And that was the first time going to see Vinod's family, first time going to India. And like, it was a total like, and we were getting married. Yeah. So we took like 4 weeks plus for that trip because there was just so much to do and to get ready. And like every night, or every day for lunch, that's like the biggest meal. Vinod's mom would make like an amazing spread of like rata rice and all these sides. And like, that was just spectacular. And I would think, oh my gosh, she made so many sides for lunch. And then she'd do it again the next day.
And I thought like we're gonna have leftovers, but like we would go to town. And
That's so
eat
similar
everything.
to like Korean. Yeah, it's just you know, my mom does this all the time. She's just like, I'm not hungry. She's like, perfect. It's just an entire table of food. I mean, Tom's mom's the same way, right? It's just like, yeah, I'll have a snack, and it's just like, here's a 14-gallon pot of fucking kimchi jjigae, you know?
Yeah.
And it's never just one thing. It's because I feel like sometimes it just in other cultures, you know, you're like, oh, here's your soup or here's your, but it's all the side dishes, the
panchan,
panchan,
yeah.
and then like it's not even just like the panchan, but then like they'll have this fried fish and this noodle dish,
Fried
and this, you know,
fish,
like
yes.
there's just so many different things. The whole array, like it fills your table where like you are trying to fit that last thing on.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. You're speaking of fried fish. Like fish fry is like a way of life. It's more like what's the fresh fish that's coming by on bike. So every morning it's like we're in the window of 8:45 to 9:30. You hear the ding 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 of like either the fishmonger on his bike.
Yeah.
Or like a honk 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 if he's on his motorcycle. And so Mama would go grab her tray. And then Vinod's like either telling me, or I'm already hearing this and running to go see, oh, what'd the fisherman bring today?
I keep hearing you say, amma. Is that in Vinod's, what is it? Yeah.
Malayalam.
It's okay. Remember it. Is it, how do you say mom and dad?
Amma, A-M-M-A.
It is similar, right?
Very
Okay.
similar to the amma in Korean. So dad is different. It's achan.
Okay.
A-C-H-A-N.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Got it.
So yeah, I interchange it.
Yeah.
Amma, mom.
So you're in Kerala. You're inspired by the cuisine, the culture, his family, obviously. What made you be like, I'm going to quit my, stable, comfortable life and pursue something so dangerously risky? Restaurants.
Danger. I don't know.
And that's the interview.
And see.
Yeah. So what made you want to like make that career change?
It's so interesting because I was on this quote path of what I thought was like doing what I was supposed to do. I thought I was supposed to be this corporate person.
Right.
And I kept trying.
Yeah.
And the last job behind a desk, I got fired. They were downsizing. It was just a small company, wasn't a good fit. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I kind of hate that someone made the decision for me, but
Right.
at the same time, I'm glad this happened like 2 days before my birthday. So I could enjoy my birthday and actually finally like start figuring out what it is I want to do. And so what I did is like I took some time off, and at the time I'd saved enough to be able to travel. And this is when Vinod was traveling, setting up. Vinod was setting up audit departments in different countries at the time for his job, and I thought, wow, just being able to experience different foods in different cuisines, that's something that I've always loved, and I just wanted to be able to say, like, basically, it's kind of a combination of things. I'd often ask Vinod, it's like at 11 p.m., too late in the night, I was like, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? I thought I was supposed to be doing things. I thought I was supposed to be having, having kids. And, that's a whole nother thing. But, all these things that you're supposed to do.
Right.
And, I have 3 older sisters, and they're all successful, doing the respective things and having their respective kids. They all have kids. I was like, oh, my God.
Yeah.
So this is such a weird, full circle moment because, at the time, I was like, I don't know what I want to do. But it's when I was like, well, figure it out.
Right.
What do you love? It's like food.
Love to eat.
And no, but basically, yeah. I always say I'm an expert eater. And
I love
That's
that.
my expertise as well.
it is. And I think it's really important because you got to build that palate. Is what I used to say.
Right.
And I mean,
And
no
you've been
joke.
building it.
I really appreciate you sharing so vulnerably, Margaret, too, because I think people who are stuck in the middle of it, that when you don't know. So, yeah, I recently quit a job, and I'm kind of figuring things out too. And no one talks about being in the thick of it. It's only on the other side when you're like, oh, but I figured it out. And so I think it is a vulnerable place to be when you're in the middle, and the doubts and everything is just overwhelming.
For sure. And then like just meeting, like putting yourself out there. So I think it was a combination of like, why the shift of like, okay, food, that's a big thing, but there are so many different things you can do with that.
Right.
And I just started going to like random, there's this Saya Hillman, she runs something called Life of Yes through Mac and Cheese Productions, and she would have these minglers. And the thing is like, don't come with anybody. Just come with no expectation, just show up, meet people. And like her thing is like, hashtag Life of Yes. Just go to one thing, do it on your own, and just try something new.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And so it stuck, and I always thought like, okay, I'll just show up.
Yeah.
And in one of those cases, I did get to meet like a hodgepodge of people in the food industry. Not necessarily restaurateurs, but like entrepreneurs.
Okay.
I thought, okay, I'll do that. But meanwhile, I still had no idea.
Right.
In all of my corporate jobs, one of them, when I was in pharma, I'd take the Metra from downtown West Loop to Deerfield. So I was on the train 3 hours a day.
Jesus.
Yeah.
And during that time, I became obsessed with a spicy ketchup. And I say this because I randomly started a Facebook fan page
For spicy ketchup.
for a spicy ketchup.
Wow.
And why do I mention this? Because 3 months later, people started asking, where do you get this ketchup in New York and Canada? I was like, I have no idea. I already emailed the info email on the bottle. They didn't respond.
Yeah.
So I emailed them again. I said, hey, some people want to know what's up with your ketchup. Where can you get it? And I found out, became a person. And his name is Chef Dave. And Dave was the first chef I ever met. And he's like, hey, here's where you can buy the ketchup at these stores. I'm going to be I live in California, but I'm coming out to Chicago in a blizzard for work. So if you want to meet, I'd like to learn more about you and your Facebook ketchup friends. And I was like, okay. Like, I had nothing going on. I'm still trying to figure out about my shit, what I was doing next. And I met Chef Dave. He's like this really kooky, great man, like 20 years older than me.
Yeah.
And he used to be a chef for like 20 plus years, had a restaurant in Chicago.
Wow.
And his business partner, Greg, they both have their independent businesses, food related. And the point is, like, Dave was like, so what do you want to do with this? Do you want some free stuff? Do you want to work with us? I'm like, I don't know. You need to get out there because this is a great product.
Yeah.
So we just kept the conversation open and loose. And then basically that just led to like more conversations. And I was like, wait, I think you need to get this into stores.
Yeah.
And he's like, we are in stores. I'm like, oh, you are? And so that's the whole point. It's like I became their first employee. I made a job for myself as selling this ketchup.
No way.
And getting it into more stores and bars. And then Chef Dave then also came up with the michelada mix. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing because I'm also from California. I understand what micheladas are.
Yeah.
Chicago wasn't quite there yet, unfortunately. I mean, it's still taking time, but now people know what that is. And so that was my first food job as a self-created.
What is the ketchup called?
The ketchup's called Ketchupeño.
Ketchupeño, okay.
And you can find it on the Burrito Beach breakfast burrito.
Oh, you currently use it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. I love that. That's so cool.
And I didn't even realize this till recently. It's like, no wonder I'm obsessed with spicy beet ketchup. And no wonder I make that beet, we make the ketchup for our chowder tots for lunch.
Yeah.
I was like, duh.
Those chowder tots.
Yes.
Fucking delicious.
I was curious too about, I was curious about the chowder tots. This idea of blending, maybe comfort foods, this American side of all of us that we've experienced with the flavors of Kerala. And just, is that something you hope to continue to do at that?
Yes.
Okay.
At
Yeah,
Thattu.
no, I just wasn't sure.
No, for the lunch menu in particular, yes. More of the comfort casual.
Sure.
And I mean, ultimately, we want to make yummy, tasty food.
Yeah.
And
you don't want to be stuck to a box with just traditional kind of?
exactly. I do love traditional food, and I'm going to say that's why I really love our chorom karyam, the vegetarian plate. That's literally what Vinod and I would have at lunch at home, like in Kerala.
In Kerala, yeah.
Yeah, I think, of course, like all those sides times 10.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's something that we want to always keep. I will say for the lunch menu and dinner menu, we want to keep them both small and like tight, not like we want to have a smaller and tighter menu and then allow room for specials. And then for dinner, we do still want to continue with like traditional flavors and like influence, but in the years to come, we want to like expand on that, experiment more. Partially due to the fact that I really want people to understand Kerala cuisine first, and myself included. This is my first time working in a full-fledged kitchen. Yeah. I mean, that's a whole other thing, going from pop-up to restaurant, but like I want to like nail that first, and then like I do have fun Korean things that I add to it, but I want to like, let's like wait for it.
Yeah,
Wait for it.
yeah.
It's gonna
Korean
happen.
Kerala.
Yeah,
The mix of both.
and in some of the pop-ups, I have made like a uttapam with kimchi and beef fry.
Oh, cool.
And uttapam is like another fermented rice and lentil pancake.
Oh.
Similar to pajan, you still flip it, cook it on both sides.
Yeah, yeah.
But the point is like, I mean, we do it, we have it for staff meal, like we're experimenting.
Oh, yum.
So I do want to get to that in the future.
Would you say that of the menu right now, a lot of it is a tribute to Vinod's, like his childhood foods and what Amma makes?
Some,
Some?
it's a good mix. And so I'm gonna say on our lunch menu, our fish fry plate, that's a really great example of all of our team. The fish fry, it's catfish marinated, a simple marinade, and that's totally Vinod's mom's like marinade, tried and true, and love it, and I love it, and so that's what I made. And I'm gonna start with the summer version of that, where I use curd yogurt rice. That was like my favorite, like comforting rice. It's like full fat yogurt,
Yeah.
unripe green mango, carrots, onions, and just like all mixed in there. Would go perfectly with that fish. And then what I love about this plate is that Danny, our chef de cuisine, he was playing around with some chutneys. And this was his creation, the methi chutney. And methi is like a green, leafy, very herbaceous, leafy green. And so he made that chutney. And then Cindy, our sous chef, we were playing around, and she was like, we have all this extra watermelon, like from our drink, the ginger cooler. And so she was like, ooh, what about watermelon salad? And we're like, ooh, watermelon with fish? We're like, we're not sure, but like my philosophy is like, let's try it.
Yeah, let's try it.
And I like, actually, try everything twice. So she tried it twice. And oh my gosh, it all worked together so well, literally in concert. And that literally created such a beautiful fish fry plate. And I just love that it was truly like a part of all of us.
Yeah.
And then that was our summer version. It's cold now, so we don't do yogurt rice.
Right.
Though some of us, including myself, could eat yogurt rice. So we year round. So we switched it up to lime rice because that lime really goes really in the acidity and the crunchiness of the lime rice goes really well with the fried fish. Yeah. That's still the same. And then we switched it up again. That chutney, still there. Still love it.
Yeah, that's like the foundation of that dish.
Yeah. And then instead of the watermelon salad, we changed with the season. It's more of a butternut squash
Oh, nice.
thoron with some red beans. And so thoron, what that is, it's loosely translates to a stir fry with coconut, because coconut.
Coconut.
How are you continuing to educate yourself on the cuisine from Kerala?
That's a really good question because there's
Thanks.
just so much information in the best way possible.
Sure.
I admit I scroll through Instagram to see what's going on, like as we speak in Kerala. But of course, there are some amazing books out that are like also coming out constantly.
Yeah.
Umi Abdullah, she is like the matriarch of Malabar cuisine. Malabar is like the NorCal, it's like the northern part of Kerala.
Okay.
And she is like the queen
Oh, awesome.
of that hyper-regional cuisine. And
Is she still living out there, or is she in the
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And in fact, I'm really, really hoping to try to meet her on our trip next month.
Awesome.
And I think she's like Amma's age. I think she's like 85-ish.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
So like, but I guess to the point is like I go to the ultra traditional too, and then there are some recent cookbooks that I just got my hands on from both the UK, and I'm also gonna when I'm out there. Seek that out.
Where did you learn to cook? I'm taking it back a little bit. Was it Vinod? Was it his mom?
Oh, well, learn how to cook. Well, first from my mom, of course, but fast forward, when I was looking for this job of what am I doing with my life after this food sales job, I really learned to cook from Juan Kim, like in a restaurant setting.
From Kimski.
Juan Kim.
Yeah. So after this ketchup job, a michelada mix. Sorry, I get too excited.
How did he find
But-
you? How did you find Juan?
So michelada mix in my food sales job
No way.
is like, as I was like literally talking to more chefs and just trying to figure out what am I going to do with my life and like, where am I going? But I'm going to say, like, I found Juan. I found his food.
Yeah. Wow.
During his pop-ups. And
Wow. Where?
Whole Foods. I think I had gone. No, Whole Foods was the first time I tried his food because I was trying to get in touch with him. Somebody had said, "Oh, I think this chef likes some micheladas. You should give him a bottle." I'm like, "Okay." So my whole hashtag life of yes, I was like, "Hey,
Yeah.
I was gonna show up with a couple of bottles of this mix." He's like, "This is great. Can you pour some to go with these deviled eggs that I'm gonna serve?" I'm like, "Okay." He's like, "Oh wait," and so I was like, "Can I help peel those eggs?" And so
While you were selling him micheladas, you
yeah. So I was like, I'm here. I want to be useful. So I basically peeled some eggs because I wanted to, because I also legit just wanted to taste how it would taste together.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm like, okay, no big deal. But that's how I met Juan. And also I started cooking, like in a professional kitchen. It just happened in that I went to this pop-up of his, loved his food, loved what he was doing, the creativity. And I was like, oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah. Juan's such a grinder. Like he hustles. Like he's a DJ, he's a chef, he's an artist, he's a troublemaker.
I mean,
Yeah, we love Juan.
Yeah.
So it's so cool that you guys ended up meeting.
Yeah.
So serendipitous.
because of the mix.
Yeah.
And I think for me, I was just like, I'm a random. I just love food.
Yeah. I mean, I
And
still feel like that. I'm a fucking random. I love food
but
too.
yeah, and so I guess long story short, I just kept going to his pop-ups. Explorer, I was like, I love pop-ups. Again, explorer by nature. And then along the way, I met another chef, and I was like, I think I want to cook. I think I want to go to culinary school. She's like, okay, don't go to culinary school, but if you think you do, make a list, talk to people. And I was like, okay. And so I made a list of. And then she's like, and make a list of where you want to go stage. And I said, what's stage? No idea.
Yeah.
And then she's like, okay, based on that, what you just said, here's a list of what you need to take when you go stage. And so Julia, bless her heart, she was the first woman to literally sit me down of here's what's what.
Yeah.
And then, so went and talked to Juan. I was like, hey, I just want to talk about getting in the industry. And he got slammed. He's like, can you help some prep while we talk? And I'm like, totally.
Yeah.
I want to learn stuff and
Yeah.
do things. And I'm very much a doer. So that was without hesitation. So we talked, and what became of that was okay, why don't you come stage and come work? I said, but do you want to work an event in 2 days? I'm like, okay. Yeah, life of yes. And then it was Belly Q. It was a ramen fest.
Shit.
And I got to have a Shroom Boom vegan ramen, which was so freaking delicious. And I remember.
What year was this?
So this was, I'll have to check my Instagram. I'm going to say not 8 years ago.
Oh my God.
Because.
We might have been there together too.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
So random me, I was like,
We're just always around each other
yeah,
since Glenview.
since Glenview.
Holy shit.
And it was in Belly Q. And I just remember being oh my gosh, everything's looks so good. And I'm just happy to be here. And I got to marinate that tofu. like wide-eyed, all of this.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, there's Bill Kim.
Yeah,
all
yeah.
excited.
I was starstruck too when I first saw Bill Kim.
Yeah. And so,
Uncle Bill, we call him here.
for real. And so that was like my first 2 days of like,
So you worked at Kimski for a while,
yes.
and then the pop-up started happening.
So those happened in tandem. So
Okay.
as I was a prep cook for 2 years, Juan would like often like, hey, well, do you want to like do a special? I'm like, I was nervous. I'm like, I don't know. But
Yeah.
then I was like, you know what? I am going to do a special. So it's like gentle pushing of like do
Yeah.
a special pepper. And I did a pepper chicken fried sandwich.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I made it way too spicy. So that was my
Perfect.
first lesson in using acid to balance things out. So that, I mean, great learning.
Yeah.
And then fast forward, it's like, hey, I was like, do you want to do a pop-up? I was like, no. Like, hey, I'm too nervous. I was like, oops. And then I, at the same time, I was going to other people's pop-ups. And Kelly of Moms, like she was doing early pop-ups. I was hungry as fuck. And I was like, oh my God, I just went to this pop-up. And like I posted on Instagram.
Yeah.
And Mom's like, hey, do you think they'd want to do a pop-up? I'm like, oh yeah. Because at the time, it's like, oh, I love promoting. And I love promoting other people. And I still enjoy that. And so I got them in. And I'm going to say, like, seeing Kelly and her team just like bust out delicious food. It was very inspiring. I'm like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
I do want to
Shout
do
out
a
to
pop up.
Kelly. Kelly's seriously one of the most talented chefs that I think I've encountered in the last decade.
Yes.
Her food is excellent, always, and beautiful. And
Ab-
she's so cool.
Yes.
We love Kelly.
Yeah, I'm gonna say like, I know we all like. I sometimes feel like I'm a blip. I love how we're all of our blips are all in orbit of each other.
Yeah.
In
I
the
agree.
best way possible. And I know like sometimes it doesn't always like sync up. It's like, that's okay. Like we'll blip again. We'll orbit again or not.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And it's okay if it doesn't. And I guess the point is like, so seeing Kelly do that, I was like, oh yeah, I do want to try a pop-up. So I did.
Yeah.
And did the first pop-up with a lot of help from Juan, just getting the menu set up and just like the execution of it. And
Did you have the name yet?
no,
Okay.
not at all. And so it was just more like South
Just-
Indian sadhya. And sadhya means feast.
Oh, okay. Cool.
And I didn't even say Kerala because I did like, it was
Yeah.
just more like, here's all this great food that I love and what I know. And some I didn't know. Vinod admittedly helped me with them. So that was the whole point. It's like we do an experiment. And first one was in August at Kimski. Loved it. And I thought it'd be one and done.
Yeah.
And I'm still like a prep cook doing all the things. And it was a great way to just learn and hone different skills, like in a larger setting, not just for like a house or a dinner at our house for friends. And then I love the first pop-up experience. And I just remember like, I think it sold out maybe like 2 hours. I don't remember, but I was just like, oh my gosh. Like I knew my friends who showed up and like some of the Kimski fam that showed up. I was like, who are these other people? And at the end,
They're
I remember
ketchup fans.
I think so. And I was like, okay. Kept going. And then one, like a couple days later, was like, hey, do you want to do another one? And I'm like, can I do another one? Like, hell yeah, I'd love to. So a month and a half later, I did another one. And on that second one, I invited a friend and a mentor. Her name's Mary, Mary Argoni of Saigon Sisters.
Oh.
And this is on the patio, in the back patio of Kimski. She's like, Margaret, you need to do a pop-up at my place.
Oh,
And I was like, oh, in the West Loop.
yeah. Here we go.
Yeah. I was like, and I was nervous because I was like, I'm still like testing things out. So I was like, okay. And so my first my third pop-up was a 5-course meal at Bang Chop Kitchen at Mary's place. And I was like, Juan, how am I going to do this? He's like, I'll help you work it.
Oh, awesome.
And so he and a couple others helped me work my very first like 5-course pop-up.
Yeah. Holy shit.
And that was the first time I also made a dessert. And so we had like a goat stew and like the appam in the traditional, like appachate. I'm doing this because it's more concave traditionally, not the flat version that we do in the restaurant. But that was like a dinner for 40 people.
That's quite an ambitious thing to do as someone who doesn't have too much, or at that point, just a few months of actual kitchen experience.
So at this time, it was a year.
Okay.
So I did it. So I was at Kimsky in total 2 years.
I see.
And what was, and I say that loosely because it was kind of strange. It's like the first year, I was there for, like I say year, but like I started staging for like a couple of weeks, and I was just ramping up my hours. And then I was like, my dad passed away, like really suddenly. I was like, Juan, I was really excited to come work, but I gotta go. And he was like, no questions, like, yeah, like just do what you gotta do. And so basically I went home to California for like 2 months.
Yeah.
My dad passed away in March. And then I just remember like it was at the end of May, I was coming back to be in Chicago because I also missed Vinod. But it was just more like, oh, I really want to cook, but I don't know if I'm ready. And I just want to keep going. And Juan was ramping up for summer. He's like, hey, I see you're back because I was posting on Instagram.
Yeah.
It's like, do you want to come work? I was like, I do. Like, I was like mentally finally ready.
Yeah.
And I think that first year that I worked, it was like really hardcore from like May to May, June, like for 4 or 5 months. And then that was a big part of like when I learned the most.
Yeah.
It was just like literally cooking through my grief and just like learning, and all at the same time, so much was happening.
Yeah.
And I guess part of it was like, that was a big part. It's like I wasn't there yet to do a pop-up, but I was like, I want to. And then it was later that year. That's when I saw Kelly like do her thing. I was like, fuck yeah. So it was the following year.
Yeah. Okay. Then you started.
That I started. And that's like, because I think I had all this energy.
Yeah.
I was just like,
Oh, you have energy.
I was like, I'm ready.
Yeah.
So like, it was a combination of just like weird series of events. Like, I bring this up because I was cooking through a lot of my grief as I was learning.
Yeah.
And like that first year was my dad passing, and like got through that. It was really hard, obviously.
Yeah.
And then I was on a roll. And then the next year, you know, it's hard for like one parent dies and the other like takes care of the other. And so my mom also, we knew, my sisters and I, we knew she was sick.
Yeah.
And because I was like the one that wasn't like working, like, how do I say this? It was like, my mom was like, can you come home and take care of me? I'm like, actually, I can.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
This is California?
Yeah. So my second year, while like trying, like learning as a prep cook, I was like, I think I need to go.
Yeah.
So I was like, it was like, yeah, like do what you got to do. Like, no question. And I was like,
Right.
So I left in January. So my mom was starting getting sick in January. And so I was basically in California, February, March, April for 3.5 months. And I'd come back and I just check in, like it was not working. But the whole point of this is like, I took a big break from cooking.
Yeah.
And cooking a lot more Korean food, like with my mom, for my mom.
Yeah.
And then she just got really sick, and then she did pass away. And so it was just like a weird, like mental state of like, oh, this is hard.
Sorry, yeah.
And after coming back from that, like I did take a break, and in June, that's when I really started. I was like, I do really want to cook. And I think one of the big things with my mom, she was like in the last couple of months, she was like, I'm so glad you don't have kids. And like, I was like, oh my God, my mom is saying this. It's like, because you can take care of me.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't understand how you and your sisters all turned out like so different.
Yeah.
I don't get it. She's like, but it doesn't matter. She's like, just if you want to cook, go cook.
Yeah.
Just be the best at it.
Yeah.
And do, like if you don't love it, don't do it.
Right.
It's very much of like carpe diem, and my mom is like such a like fire starter, and she did so much.
That's beautiful.
And so I think that was like the big like, just like. Also, I'm older, so like for like those who start in this career.
Yeah.
But because talking to my mom, it was just like, to hear her say like, just do what makes you happy.
Yeah.
And I think that was the biggest like thing that really pushed me into like, just like, yeah, like I want to go do the stuff, things I want to do.
Yeah.
And that being like just cooking other food.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say that was also like, it was kind of hard for me to cook some Korean food.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it reminded you.
Too much of my mom. And like, I absolutely love making kimchi like every week or every other week at kimchi. Yeah. And like, that was kind of like, I was a prep cook, so no one was around. So I was like, I just like cry and make kimchi.
Yeah.
Because like my mom and I would make it in the backyard.
Yeah.
And like, I still have like Instagram photos and all that, but it's like, I love fermented food. I love doing that. And so that was really like amazing. How lucky was I to be able to do that?
Right.
Like randomly like got to work with Juan and learn from him.
Yeah.
And like randomly, or I say randomly, but it's like cook as much kimchi as I wanted to by myself so I can kind of like work through that. And then at the same time, I was like, God, doing that pop, I was like, I'm so in love with Kerala food too. Mm-hmm. And I think there was some weird switch on that second to that third pop-up.
Right.
Of like, oh, like.
Oh, you knew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this needs to happen. Not just, I mean, I do say, and I still strongly believe that not enough folks understand that India is such a big, vast country. It literally is a subcontinent, though.
Yeah.
And this is one state's cuisine. And, like, I think I was just thinking, like, I go home, and that's what I love and experience. Yeah. And similarly, I was like, I'm so lucky. And I, like, to the point, I was like, God, I feel like almost privileged to be able to have this double life.
Yeah.
And then I think that's, as I was, like crying, cooking all this, or making all this kimchi, I was like, God, this is really hard, but it's not hard, but I love this other stuff too. So I think that's when the switch happened, basically. Of like, of course I still eat kimchi jjigae, I make it at home. I eat it like 5 times a week, late at night. I mean,
a puffy face in the morning.
Yeah, there's that. But I guess,
like, well, thank goodness you did, because obviously it's not just our opinion here, but like so many people, not just in Chicago, but all over the country, is just going crazy over your restaurant in Avondale. You know, it's not like it's, you know, main and main. And to get that kind of attention that you've gotten, I think you made the right move, Margaret. You know, so congratulations on all of your, you know, success and, you know, getting through all of the challenges, you know, like, but I agree with you. Like, cooking is a very healing, you know, and I kind of went through a similar process as you did. And, you know, I'm just like definitely resonating with what you're, thank you so much for sharing too.
That was the most beautiful story of making kimchi, by the way. So thank you for sharing that.
All the saltiness.
Yeah. It's the seasoning. Okay, so then Politan Row. Sorry, I'm just kidding. How did Politan Row happen then?
So I talked about the first 3 pop-ups. Mm-hmm. Politan Row literally hatched between the 4th and the 5th pop-up.
Okay.
So Mary is like, hey, do you want to do brunch? I was like, oh, I'd love to, but I haven't done brunch before.
Yeah.
So I did my first, I had my first brunch pop-up at Kimski just to test out some new menu items.
Yeah.
And again, that was like a great testing area. Mm-hmm. And when I did that partially to prepare myself to do one at Saigon Sisters. Mm. And when I was doing, setting up like for a different like menu, because I was so used to doing like appam and certain curries, sorry, I'm rambling right now, but I think the whole point is like as I was getting ready for that last pop-up, Mary's like, hey, would you ever be interested in opening a restaurant in the West Loop? I was like, restaurant in the West Loop, that's got to be so expensive. No. Yeah. And then she was like, oh, it's for a food hall. I was like, oh, that sounds a bit more manageable. I was like, maybe, sure, I'll give it a try. Yeah. And I was like, what does that really mean? She was like, well, you do a tasting. I was like, what do you do? Like, what happens at a tasting? because I'd never done a tasting before. It's like, oh, you just cook them some like maybe 4 or 5 dishes from your pop-ups. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And so it was one of those questions like, I knew that Vinod and I, maybe 10 years from that point, would want to open a restaurant. So I thought, okay, like let's give this a whirl, let's see what really happens.
Yeah.
And because I'd done up to that point 4 pop-ups, almost 5, I had the best hits, the things that I love to make, the things that were like just resonated more.
Right.
And made goat stew, appam, coriander chicken, katala curry, and a few other things for my first tasting, or a shrimp and a upma, which is like a fluffy semolina.
Okay.
And this was my first tasting. I was like, and I asked Juan, I was like, how does this go? He's like, just like have a story for each dish, say something about it, and just like, you're already doing it. I was like, okay. Yeah. And so on a prep day before I was to work, I was like invited the folks from Politan Road for a tasting. And so it was like 2 hours. They just came, ate, and after 2 hours, they're like, hey, would you like to open a food stall? I'm like, really? And I was like,
That's amazing.
yeah, they love the appam. And they were like staring at it. They're like, yeah, we need this.
Right.
And it's like, I was like,
Yeah.
I want to do this.
Hell yeah. And that. So go ahead.
I was gonna say, where does the name Thattu come from?
Okay, so that is a shortened word from Thattu kata. And Thattu kata translates to like a street cart.
Okay.
A street cart could mean like a cart on the beach where you can get like a snack, or like in the streets of Kerala where you can get like a chai and a tea snack. But Thattu kata was too long. And we had so many different names, like Malabar Thattu kata was the full name, but I just kept chopping it. And
It's just 2 random syllables.
too many syllables. That also similar to this, but like Thattu can also mean like a sizzling plate, or like something,
cool.
or something that holds food in the literal sense.
Food warmer.
It looks like pochas.
Yeah, exactly. There's a word in Korean for this. Yeah, the street food that you eat when you go out and you get your tteokbokki and your mandu, the whole spread.
Yeah. So I remember. So the first time I had your food was at Politan Row.
It was.
Yeah, that was. So a buddy of mine had a stall in there called La Chouk.
Oh yes, our neighbors.
Yeah, and went there to eat his food all the time, and then I saw your stall, and I'm like, is that an Asian? Is she Indian? Like, what the fuck's going on over here? So I ordered some food, and it was incredible, and I was like, man, this is what I mean. I don't eat Indian food very often, but this was easily the best version I've had up to that point. And so then I was starting to pay attention, and then you were starting to get a lot of attention there too. So, and then so from Politan Row, you ended up doing a pop-up at this restaurant called Perilla.
Yeah.
Which also, line out the door before we opened. Do you remember this?
Oh yes.
Were you
now
there
I
for
do.
this?
I was in my state of mind. Yes.
Yeah, it
that
was. We were all like, "What the fuck is going on here?" Like, it was the bigger crowd that we ever drew for our own restaurant. You know, it was like literally patio full, line out the door, and your food sold out immediately. I think, right? Or like people were just like it just the line wouldn't end.
Yeah, we were also what the hell.
Yeah.
And like, I'm glad we couldn't see the end of the line, because I think I would have literally freaked out. And this was in the middle of the pandemic, and hello,
Yes.
thank you for opening your doors to us.
Oh, please.
I'm gonna say
I
like,
just wanted to eat your food somehow.
and we just wanted to cook,
Yeah.
like for real. And like, I think that was like so much. I think we had like our largest team come out to support that day and eat, like to work.
Yeah.
And there's some are like, we don't want to work, we just want to come.
Yeah.
And it's like, good, because we need help.
And I think Cindy was there, right?
Yes.
And she still works with you.
Yes,
Right.
Cindy has literally been with us since day 0.
Yeah.
When I got the offer from Juan and I told Juan, like, hey, I'm going to open the stall. Cindy does a monthly pop-up called Brunch Locks at Maria's. And she is an awesome cook. She cooks Norwegian Norwegian and Filipino influenced food.
Oh, cool.
And so she pops up and cooks in the Kimchi kitchen like once a month. And so I'd always see her in the mornings. I was like, hey, Cindy, what do you, would you be up for maybe joining this pirate ship?
Of course.
That's the nicest chef poaching I've ever heard in my life right there. Hey,
And I would see her like once a month, like when she would come in, and I'd be like, "Oh, like I love her food."
Yeah.
And she's a great just like because like we were both like the morning people.
Yeah.
It's like she's obviously a great person, and then it's like, I love your food.
Yeah.
And so to answer your question, she's been with us since day 0 before we even opened the food
That's
stall.
crazy. That's awesome.
I really love that we're in this era now where I feel like there's a time now in food where you can connect in so many different ways. Like I think for me, I actually have talked to Juan about this as well, but just this idea that like as an adoptee, I never thought I could be making Korean food because I thought I'd be seen as inauthentic. Like, oh, she has white parents. She's not a real Korean. And so to be able to be in this space where like, I mean, in so many ways, I think all three of us just love good food. And like, there's so many influences over each of us. So to see that like you can take something from your childhood that's like when you're talking about a peanut butter kimchi sandwich, I was like, whoa, that's like such a funny thing. But just this idea that you can, like so much of who you are can be represented through your food too. I think that's really cool.
Do you have a kind of plan for the future of Thattu?
Yes.
What can
Like,
you share with us?
yeah.
Is there a big something coming up, or
I feel like every week is a new I mean, we're 7 months in.
yeah, brand new?
I still feel like we're still brand new. I would say in the most immediate, like I'm really excited. I just set up a menu for New Year's Eve. We're doing a 5-course meal.
Awesome.
And I say that because one thing that we want to do more of in the year to come is a one-night special dinner.
Oh yes.
And most of us think about these like 5-course meals. There's a holiday that we celebrate called Onam. It's like the autumn festival. It's the celebration.
It's like Chuseok.
Yes, similar in the sense of it's like the new year, and it's a new season celebrating the harvest. And it's like this banana leaf where you have all of these like vegetarian sides.
Did you celebrate that this year? Did I see on your Instagram you guys had a big dinner?
We did. We had 8 big dinners of 30 people each.
Jesus.
And I say this because it's such a beautiful like communal experience. Like each 15 people, everyone gets their own banana leaf with all of their sides. But like you're all served and you're eating like all together. And that's how we would have it in Kerala. And I want to do more of that, but not necessarily that menu.
Right.
Whether it's a seafood extravaganza on this banana leaf,
Yeah.
or it could be beef and veggie, because in Kerala, it's such a diverse state that we do eat beef. We do eat, obviously, seafood and veg, but also pork. But like, I want to do more of these communal sadhya feasts. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Like, that's one thing that I'm really excited about that we want to explore. Timing, not sure.
Yeah.
It's still early.
That's awesome. So I think we do have some questions from our Instagram followers. The first is this lovely lady named Grace. It's at Love Sugar and Grace, and she wants to know if you can please share your tip on peeling quail eggs.
Hi, Grace. The tip is,
She doesn't listen to this.
oh, she doesn't. Peeling quail eggs. Well, first, egg curry was a big seller from the beginning.
Yeah.
But obviously, peeling a larger egg is much different than a quail egg. Quail egg, hit it very, very carefully. in a metal bowl, all the sides,
Okay.
and then just use like, how do I say it? The side of your thumb,
Oh, to kind of just.
gently peel.
I wish we had a quail egg here to ask you, or so you can demonstrate.
So she's asking that because we did peel like 600 of those for
Oh my God.
the James Beard reception.
This year?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus, really?
Wait, something's happening.
It's the guy who
Sorry.
told us to turn off phones
My
off.
mom. She's like always calls me during the podcast.
Aw, hi, Mom.
It's for kimchi. Okay, one from Anjoleen. Do you have any advice or words of wisdom for people who want a career change?
It's a really good question. I think the first part is what excites you the most? That, and if you don't know, just try a bunch of things. Like, go like, I mean, whether it's like pottery or just like, I don't know. Sometimes you bike, like if you bike or if you like, you walk, sometimes I just like literally just hop on my bike and just like bike around the city and just like
Get inspired.
get inspired.
Right.
And I think sometimes I would also say like to find out what inspires you. It's like, that's hard too.
Right.
Like I remember asking myself this same question. It's
Right.
like, well, music too. I think music is very, not just healing, but also just like a way to just like explore different parts of your brain.
Right. Career changes are hard though.
So,
Like just you saying those things, like there's reminded me to just so much to think about, and it's like, okay, I like music, so fucking what? Like now I gotta learn how to monetize this and like make a living off of this, and like, so yeah, it's a very, very difficult and courageous thing to do. So don't do it. No. But
Well, yeah, I mean, like people would say, don't open a restaurant.
right.
You're not going to have a life.
Yeah.
And it's going to get really hard to make money. But I guess it's also like, what's your why? Like,
Right.
why do you want to change?
This is the life, like Tom and I talk about this quite frequently, but it's such a privilege to be able to do what we do for a living, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, it's like I get to cook for a living, right? And Tom gets to throw a party every night, right? So it's like, I don't know how the stars align to allow us to live this life, but we were literally like research for us is eating food. Like how incredible is that, right? So, yeah, I mean, I think it's very important that you do find something that you are passionate in, and you have to just be courageous and refuse to quit.
Refuse to quit and be okay with trying something once and being like, that wasn't for me.
Right.
I tried.
Right. Absolutely. Okay, next question. Rebecca, do you have a favorite dish that you will never get tired of making? Second part, something that makes you feel relaxed and happy while you make it.
Ooh. There are two things that just never get old. If we're to say a dish, I would say katala curry. It's just very meditative. It's like tried and true. It's been with us since like pop-up days. And it's just grown up over the years. But it's just cooking down onions, ginger, garlic, curry leaves. After that moment, right before I put in when this is all like well cooked and caramelized, when I put all the spices in, that's always my favorite part.
Yeah. It just gets so aromatic, right? What spices are you throwing in there?
Oh, you don't have to give all the secrets out.
Is it always the
but-
same or?
Yeah. Oh, it's
okay.
always the same. And you're right, no secrets. But I will say there's a lot of coriander. And that toasted coriander is like life.
Yeah.
And that's what I love.
For sure.
Of just like when that hits. And when we have new team members join, I'm like, wait for it. Like, this is the best part.
They're like, she's crazy.
She's crazy. But then I also say, like, get your tomatoes ready because you don't want those spices to burn.
Yeah.
But like when I put the
Right.
spices in, that's always
That's
my
the
favorite
moment.
part.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
So Dragonfly MC is our next
Hi, Mary
question.
Catherine.
Oh, you know.
I
All
think
right.
yes, from Cal Poly.
What is your favorite way to eat garlic?
Eat garlic.
That's what Mary Catherine wants to know.
Roasted, if I'm literally eating it, yes.
Roasted how?
In the oven.
Just like oil, salt,
Yeah, just really simple. Just
easy peasy.
Like slice it on the top, drizzle oil, salt,
Awesome. What temperature?
400. I haven't done it in a long time, but
How long?
I don't know. Until it looks good.
And then our final question is from Quinn. So she has 16 questions here, it looks like. As a female chef of color in the industry, how do you feel that has played a role in your journey, if at all? We'll start with that one.
Wait, I'm sorry. Could you say it again?
As a female chef of color in the industry, how do you feel that has played a role in your journey, if at all?
I do. Recently, going to the awards pre-party. Oh shoot! I need to think about this one.
Okay.
I know you guys are great at editing.
we can come back to that.
Yeah.
What's the messiest dish you've made?
Messy in what sense?
Did you get flour in your hair? Did your kitchen look like a tornado had gone through it?
Oh. I am going to say one of the first iterations of making the beet ketchup.
Was everywhere.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much for participating in that question.
So we actually have a fun little game next. So for those of you who don't know, Margaret and I go way back, and we go way back with turtle chips. So I don't even know when this was, but a number of months ago, Margaret and I were sharing our love for gudetama, amongst other things, the lazy egg. But we were also talking about Korean snacks, and she had never had a turtle chip before, and so
Wow.
we have the
I
bag.
had not lived yet.
Yes. I am a big fan of Korean snacks, a proud Korean snack lover. So for those of you who haven't seen, you can check out on our YouTube. You can watch our video to see what the turtle chip bag looks like. But you'll see it on every bag. It has the 4 layers. I think it's supposed to be like the turtle shell to add all of the crunch. That like that.
That was amazing.
when you eat the like.
I thought you were eating a turtle chip.
Quadruple crunch. Yes.
I mean, look at those ridges.
Yeah.
Those ridges that were amazing. And
Yeah.
God.
So we have 4 flavors here today. One of them I've never tried. I was in H Mart the other day and I saw a new flavor and I had to try it. So we want to hear Margaret Pak's ranking of the 4 flavors, which she likes the most to the least. So we're going to do a little tasting here. So these are the original, the sweet corn flavor. If you want to go for it.
Okay.
Let them hear the crunch on the.
ASMR, baby. I think they all have that really like light sweetness, but salty. I think that's turtle chips. It's one of their signature things, flavor-wise. This one is sweet corn, the
They're like-
original flavor.
They're like a much better bugle. You guys remember those?
Yeah,
Yes.
It's that corn chip.
It's a little bit
vibe.
sweeter.
This is a sweet. At the moment, I'm feeling it's more salty right now. And I like that.
Maybe, do you want to rank it 1 through 5?
No, whoa, whoa.
No, we're
after,
going
after.
in. Yeah.
Jeez, I'm
We're going to have
sorry.
to eat like 2 of each and
All right.
reevaluate.
Go ahead.
So our next one, this is a Korean flavor called Injeolmi, which is usually made with a Korean multigrain powder. It's used in a lot of desserts like bingsu. It was popularized, but you'll see it it's often paired with rice cake, Korean rice cake. So it has that chewiness and this kind of nutty roasted flavor.
Yeah, it's hard to describe injeolmi as like a flavor.
Injeolmi is soy powder.
No, it's not. That's konkaru. So they use misukaru. And misukaru is classically like, when you go to H Mart and stuff, it says like, there's a 12 grain one, a 16 grain. But I would say like the signature, it's always kind of this nutty roasted flavor.
Roasted and it makes me want to eat tea, like almost be able to drink that. Like
Oh, I
as
used to
a
drink
tea.
that all the time as a
Koreans
tea.
do drink it.
Yeah.
Injeolmi.
And it's my favorite rice cake too.
Yeah.
It just like, it gets messy. You like tried to pick up the duck
Oh yes.
and you're like,
Powder gets everywhere.
and it's just powder drips everywhere as you. Enjoy it.
Drippy
This
drip.
is another favorite for those who like sweet. This is our chocolate churro.
This is Kevin Yu's favorite.
Kevin Yu's favorite. Shout out to Kevin Yu at Kasama.
Yeah.
Because it does change the texture to have that chocolate. I think it's
That texture. Yeah.
a little different.
Can you guys describe what it's like for those of
we're
us
so hungry.
not enjoying this?
So the other two, I would
And
say,
the listeners?
have almost like a crispness. This, it feels like the coating is a little heavier on it, but it tastes like a cereal would. Like I feel like it makes you think like I want a bowl of milk almost with this.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Like it kind of gives
I'm lactose intolerant.
the
But-
vibes of like
Chex, like
The chocolate ones that look like Fruity Pebbles. It's like the same shape.
Cocoa Pebbles.
Cocoa Pebbles. I think it's Cocoa Puffs.
Well, if it's the fruity,
It looks like the Fruity Pebble. Like it looks like
Yeah,
a
it's Cocoa
very
Pebbles.
small
Cocoa Pebbles.
frosted flake, but it's chocolate flavor.
Yeah, that's called Cocoa Pebbles.
Cocoa Pebbles.
Yeah.
That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah.
flavor?
I'm with you.
Cocoa
More
Pebbles.
I would love to try one at some point.
here. Let me try one.
All right, and here is
Yeah.
our newest flavor. This is
Don't do it.
the Fuego flavor. Fuego. So I haven't had.
Is it
this
actually
one yet.
called
It's called
Fuego?
Fuego on the package.
and fuego means fire
Fire.
in Espanol.
Are they like flamin' hots?
They kind of the fireness of it is definitely has that flamin' hot vibe, but it's interesting because the first thing that hits me on the tongue, I mean, it definitely has a little lime. I think
like
it almost
taquitos.
the corn hits
Takis.
you.
Oh, Takis.
This is in line for me with the Takis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seasoning and
That's
the
citrus
the
Yeah.
level.
As soon as she said lime, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
and the heat.
so
So
it's
it
not
is
too much heat.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's not too spicy. So which is your favorite, Margaret?
Ooh, let's go reverse order. Let's go
Oh, least
4
favorite. Okay.
to 1.
Which is your least favorite?
Gosh. Okay. I don't know if it's my least favorite. I think I truly love them all, but I think for me the most surprising one.
You're so sweet, Margaret.
all my kids. And I could eat those all. The one I just want to I could eat nonstop would be the Indomie
Injurmies.
Oh, enjoy me.
and the spicy.
And the Fuego.
Yeah, fuego.
These are your faves.
Yeah, that I could eat like a lot. And then this well, see that's the thing. Like this is so standard, and I've had this so much.
Right.
I still love it, and I'm gonna say I feel like the OG has the most crunch.
Right.
So if I want that crunch, that's what I'm gonna go for. So if I had to rank, I would say the Indomie in Fuego, and then the OG.
and
Yeah,
chocolate churros at the bottom. Oh,
but it's a
okay.
close with the fourth because I love that chocolate. But
They're all different vibes too. It depends on your moods. If you want sweet,
yeah. Thank you for this
Yeah.
I
turtle
wonder
surprise.
if the turtle chip has anything to do with the turtle ship.
Oh, we're going back. We're going
What do you
back
mean?
to
Just bringing in a little
1592 Yi Sun Shin.
Yeah.
Yi Sun,
I mean,
am I
it's-
mispronouncing?
it
Admiral
sounds the same.
Yi.
Are you getting sponsored by it?
No, we're not.
Yes, we
no,
are.
we're
We're
just.
waiting
trying
for
to.
their sponsor
I think
that
it's
was
because
the-
it's shaped like a
to
turtle
reach out
shell.
to us.
That's what I would have guessed.
It's shaped like the
But
ship.
it's
But why?
Is it shaped like a turtle or is it shaped like a ship?
A turtle shell.
a turtle shell, like the back.
What? So was the ship though? The ship was also a turtle shell.
You saying ship or shit?
Yeah.
Turtle ship.
Okay. I don't. There's no historical reference.
Yes,
on
no
this
references.
Bag.
It just it's a coincidence, perhaps. But besides living off of turtle chips, are there any other spots you like to go to in Chicago to eat when you're not not eating Korean snacks?
Goodness. I'm gonna be honest. We're not getting out that much right now. I will say, due to proximity of being in North Center, Boonies I've had a chance to go to for lunch because that's the time I can get out,
Yeah.
and it's been fantastic.
What do you get from Boonies?
Couple of things. Working backwards, their faluda.
Okay. What's that?
It's the. Wait, did I say faluda? Yeah, it's like the ice cream ube ice cream
Okay.
with all of these, like some fruits, some nuts, and some
It's like tapioca or like.
correct.
Right.
So it's like it's a very multi, has all these different textures in
Yeah.
it. It's really delicious, and also the lumpia, of course. It's a very homey and like just delicious rice dishes.
Amazing.
Awesome.
The sisig too.
So then I guess to go into our last question for you, we love to close with asking if you could give yourself advice to your younger self, what would that be?
I would say keep going. Just it's okay to make mistakes.
Oh yeah.
Just keep trying.
Definitely.
There's no straight path.
Yes.
Love that.
Amazing. So we also have a little gift here for you from our sponsor. This is a saffron mango daiquiri. And the inspiration for her was that it ties the flavors of Korea and Kerala together. So for listeners, if you want to make this at home, the saffron mango daiquiri, you're going to do 1 3/4 ounce Rheinhall mango. We're going to do a 1/4 ounce Apolog saffron liqueur, 1/2 ounce lime juice, and 1 ounce yuja syrup. You're going to shake that up, serve it, and garnish with a lime wheel. So.
Awesome. Chio's so thoughtful in her cocktails.
Oh, thank you.
But yeah, Margaret, thank you so much for coming on the show today. We had an incredible time with you. Thank you so much for sharing your love and passion for your food and your family and just everything you do. It was such a pleasure to have you on the show. You guys can find her on Instagram at Thattu Chicago. That's THATTU Chicago. And her personal handle is at Marzlet, MARZLET. And the website is thattu.com. That's THATTU.com. Ladies and gentlemen, Margaret Pak. Cool. Cool.